Hey there, another common question that I want to address. Is deadlifting good for pitchers? So, number one, pitchers are athletes. They're athletes just like anyone else, but they do have some individual kind of unique needs because this arm is the fastest moving body part in all of sports. And with that, it takes a lot of unique stresses compared to other sports. So, number one, deadlifting, the deadlift is just another exercise. So it's just another tool in the toolbox to help get an athlete stronger so he can improve his performance in baseball, football, basketball, whatever. So that being said, it's just one tool in the toolbox. So don't think, number one, that you have to deadlift if you're going to be a good pitcher one day. You absolutely do not. There's also different variations of the deadlift. There's the Romanian deadlift, which is a slightly shortened range of motion. There's the regular deadlift with a straight bar. There's the trap bar deadlift, which is the hex bar, which is a little more like a squat. All of them are different variations that are more appropriate for one person or the next. So you don't have to necessarily do straight bar deadlifts. You don't have to necessarily do trap bar deadlifts. In our facility, a lot of kids do trap bar deadlifts and RDLs, but very few do straight bar deadlifts because they require a little more hip mobility. They're a little tougher to perform safely. And again, it's just one tool. It's not this whole big thing that you have to do it or else you're not going to be good. If you get super strong on the trap deadlift versus getting super strong on the regular deadlift might have like a little bit more benefit because it's a little more glute and hamstring and lower back. But ultimately, if you get really strong either way, you're going to be in good shape and you're going to improve your performance a lot. The one thing I'll say is that in my experience and in the experience of me as a trainer with all the other pitchers that I've worked with, when kids are doing a lot of heavy lifting, like heavy holds in their hands, that could be farmer's walks where they're carrying a lot of weight, or deadlifts where they have 400 or 500 pounds in their hands consistently while they're throwing hard and frequently, they tend to get more bicep symptoms than elbow symptoms. Their elbows get a little more barky, their biceps tend to get tight, they tend to fatigue out, and they tend to get bicep symptoms, and sometimes front of the shoulder stuff. So I think there's something to be said for decreasing the amount of tension that flows down from your shoulder through your bicep, through your forearms when you're throwing hard and you're maybe in season or ramping up for the season. So just because pitchers are athletes doesn't mean they should do everything, and doesn't mean that they need to go, crazy on any given exercise. Just because you can deadlift 400 pounds doesn't mean that deadlifting 600 is going to make you that much more better of a pitcher. So there's always, a tapering effect of where your gains start to plateau, where you need to probably start, looking at filling up other buckets in your and auditing your body and figuring out, okay, what else do I need to be good at? So you don't have to deadlift 700 pounds to be an amazing pitcher. But if you get to 400 pounds, you're pretty darn strong, and now we could probably allocate some of that time that and energy we were spending getting our deadlift up to maybe doing one leg stuff or throwing more med balls or getting more explosive or doing more sprints. There's always, this sort of folding or adding new things and taking things out of a strength program. So again, the deadlift is one good tool. It's a very good tool, but it's just a tool. So don't get obsessed with it. You can definitely have it in your strength program. If you're doing 600 pounds on the deadlift, congratulations, you're super strong, but it's probably time that we can move on and do other stuff because injury risk does increase when the weight gets super heavy. Ask a power lifter. There's a lot of risk holding a lot of weight on your back or in your hands, whatever. Those guys get banged up. So just remember, the things you do in the weight room are tools to make you better at baseball. They're not the tool. They're not the thing in itself. So don't get obsessed with chasing the world's heaviest deadlift for a pitcher. What ultimately matters is that you can take the field and be as good as you can possibly be. So to summarize, deadlifts are great. There's a lot of different variations. Find the one that's most appropriate for you. It doesn't have to be the straight bar deadlift. It could be the RDL, one leg RDLs, trap bar deadlifts. There's a lot of good ways to do it. And just don't become obsessed. It's just one tool. A good strength training program should always sort of layer new things in there when you start to get really good at one thing, and so then we can bolster up and build up things that you're not quite as strong or as good at.